happiest of Sundays. It is January 29th, and we are here to talk about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're one of our new subscribers, welcome. Once a month we do a book club. The last couple years, the first book club of the year has been a Harry Potter book. So we're very excited. There's going to be so many spoilers, so please, please, please X out and come back later if you haven't read Harry Potter and the Cursed Child and you don't want to be spoiled. Yeah, so we're going to get right to it. We always start our book clubs with a rating out of 5 stars for the book, or the play, the book play, screenplay, as it were. To my far left is Erin, so we will start with you.
I'm going to be a little bit of a Debbie Downer. I have trouble rating books low. I don't usually, but I have strong feelings about this. So I'm actually probably going to rate it a 3 out of 5, which is a bit unusual for me. So
the way you were talking, I thought you were going to give it like
that's low for me. That's low for me. 4 is usually as bad as I get, you know. I'm the person on Goodreads that's like, I'm not going to review this because I didn't like it, and I don't want to be negative.
I have Emma next.
I'm going to give it 4 stars. I looked it up, and when I first finished it on Goodreads, I gave it 5. I think I was still like riding the high of like more Harry Potter. But like looking back on it, like there's definitely issues with it. But I said this before we went live to everyone else, but like I didn't go into it with huge, like super high expectations or anything. So I think it's for what it is, it's fun. So 4 stars.
Is it,
you
so
froze.
something bleeped out.
Oh, sorry, Kelly.
Yeah, that's what I thought because no one else is talking. Less dramatically, but I will also rate it 3 stars. It was okay. Like, for what it was, yes, it was fun, but for what it was, I felt like there were so many other directions it could have gone that would have made more sense. So we'll get into all of that later. 3 stars from me.
All right, Kyra.
I will probably also go with 3 stars. And for me, what 3 stars usually means is, like, I didn't not enjoy it, but if there were a sequel, I probably wouldn't seek out the sequel. I don't think there's a sequel for this, but that's in my mind what a 3 means.
Awesome. I'm going to give it 4 as well. I really think having read an absurd amount of Harry Potter fan fiction helped me mentally prepare for this because it felt so much like a fan fiction of Harry Potter the later years. But I really loved all the Malfoy stuff. Like, I would read this book again just for Draco Malfoy. Yeah. I don't care about Harry. I don't care about Albus. Just Draco.
Draco Malfoy and Scorpius Malfoy are the reasons.
Scorpius, yeah. And I don't care what J.K. Rowling says. Scorpius and Albus for life, guys. They're so great together. I love it. So let's dive right in. Did any of the rest of you have like expectations, like Emma had mentioned, for the book, or any things that you were hoping would happen in it?
I had. Sorry, there's echoing. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the one like expectation, the one hope I had was that Albus would be a Slytherin, and he was. So maybe that's why I like the book. That's all I cared about. Like I want Albus Potter to be a Slytherin and be friends with Scorpius Malfoy. That's all I care about.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I really had high hopes that they were going to do a Slytherin in like a non-horrible, murderous, stabby light. And this was like so I was very excited about that, and then they did that well. So thumbs up for that.
Kind of similarly, I was interested, of all the characters, weirdly enough, interested most to see what happened to Malfoy. So it fulfilled my expectations there.
Yeah. I've said this before in WordNerds chats, but I have read so much Draco Ginny fan fiction. And it just followed, like, obviously Draco had, what was his wife's name? I'm blanking on it right now.
Astoria.
Astoria, yeah. He had her, but she basically fulfilled the Ginny role in every Draco Ginny fanfiction ever. I was loving it. I was so on board.
Yeah. I think one of the like strengths of this play is, and I don't know if this was intentional, part of me feels like it was, but I feel like whatever you shipped, you can like read that into this play if you want to. Because like the whole time me and Megan were reading it, we were like texting each other, we were like, oh, did you see that line between Draco and Ginny? They totally were a thing back in the day, you know? But I also know people were like, oh yeah, like there's a line where Draco says something about liking it when Hermione's bossy or something. And like people are like, oh, Hermione, and people are talking about like Drarry, like everybody was finding their ship in it.
I think that's because it's a script, right? It's so bare bones that you really can read any kind of your own kind of agenda almost into it and be like, well, clearly they're confirming this old thing that I insist on.
Yeah. It was vague enough that I had like a fully formed Drinny fan fiction pop into my head that started from like book 6 and went all the way to the end of this book. I very seriously considered putting down my work in progress and just focusing on that because it sounded more fun.
It's funny because I've always been interested in the character of Malfoy, and I found this very interesting. But the more, like when I went back and reread all of the Harry Potter books and I rewatched all the movies, I'm like, I like Malfoy as a character. I do not actually ship him with any of the other characters. I like the idea of it. Like when Rainbow Rowell wrote the Carry On, I'm like, I like that idea because, you know, that's a softer version of the Malfoy character. In reality, Malfoy, while he was an interesting and intriguing villain, he was also a villain and, you know, called Hermione mudblood at every opportunity, right? So like rereading this, I'm like, no, he really wasn't like a shippable character to me.
Oh, he was
yeah.
so
I know you guys disagree.
I almost exclusively write villains. All villains are shippable in my books.
I think the main reason I was on the Draco Hermione ship is because I like what's the opposite of shipping? Whatever that is.
Anti-shipping?
Anti-shipping. I like anti-ship Hermione and Ron. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me to this day.
See, I anti-ship Harry and Ginny. They don't make sense to me.
They make a lot of sense. And yeah, this book, none of the Harry Potter series did a lot for me shipping-wise. But,
yeah, agree.
But yeah, I don't know.
I felt that it's funny because, like, I've read a few blog posts about this, but I also kind of formed this opinion like through just reading the books and rewatching the movies. But like, I feel like Ginny was better than Harry. Like in a certain ways, like she was stronger, she was less whiny. Like, I mean, like he went through a lot of crap, but I don't know.
So did she. She was possessed by Voldemort as a child.
Yeah, and which he like kind of conveniently forgot until she was like, "What are you doing with this? Obsessing over this book, right?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, right. That one time you were possessed by Voldemort. Totally forgot about that."
Oh yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, like I don't know. He just didn't treat her the way that he should have. I don't think.
You saying you were reading a thing online reminded me of my biggest soapbox, which is the loss of characterization of Ron in the movies. And one of the things I struggled with in this book was that I felt like they took movie Ron and made him book Ron.
Yeah.
Or they took book Ron and transformed him into movie Ron. They're like, oh, he quit his job and now he works at the joke shop and he's kind of stupid, but he still says kind of funny stuff.
Yeah. I think his character was very reduced in this in general. Because like I think the canon is like J.K. Rowling did say that he like left being an Auror to like work with George because George was by himself. But like, yeah, his character is just not in it very much, and he's just kind of like bumbling the whole time when he is there.
That's really true, and it's kind of sad because he's such a central character.
Yeah.
And I felt like in this one, he really got left behind in this one.
But I do also feel like, especially since it's a play, it's like harder to like have every like. I guess so many people are like, well, where's this character? And where's this character? I'm like, it's a play.
Yeah,
like they can't have that. They can't fit everybody in. And also, like, alternating between the kids and the grown-ups, it was like there was only so much space. But still, I was like sad that we didn't get more on.
Yeah. I feel like Megan said, I definitely agree that this felt like a fan fiction, and I think partly because, well, J.K. Rowling consulted on it, right? But did she actually
She
write?
didn't actually write it. No.
She
Yeah,
didn't
and
actually
I felt,
write it.
and I felt that was really evident. Like I could it felt like somebody dipping their toe in someone else's world.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, you needed to. I don't even. Are these people even like lifelong fans? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I felt like, I don't know, like it was an outsider trying to do someone else's stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't bad, but it felt like it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would like to see it though, definitely.
Yeah, because so much
Yeah, definitely.
is like can be translated
Different
beyond
ways,
just
yeah.
a script, like
Mhm.
in a way that a
Yeah.
script just can't translate it.
Yeah.
Totally. Like a lot of the world didn't feel fleshed out as you when you read the books, you can picture everything in your head and it's
Yeah.
magical and beautiful. But when you read the script, it's like this is falling very flat because it's all like descriptions of what would happen on the stage, obviously, right? So I imagine actually
Mhm.
seeing that on the stage would be breathtaking.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of the set too, and was
Yeah.
just totally in awe of them. Like,
Love
it
And
to
I-
see
looks
that.
so
I've heard
amazing.
the way they do all the like magical effects is just like amazing from what I've heard. So
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and in myself included, like reading this and then being like irritated with how I felt about it. Losing sight of the fact that it is a stage play, and it was meant for that. It's not meant for you to read it like a novel necessarily.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So many people that I saw complaining. I feel like a lot of their complaints could be like traced back to the fact that it's a screenplay.
Yes, and it's funny because I actually participate, and this was actually really cool. When I was working at Indigo, I was there for the launch night of this book, and it was so cool to see, because this was like a huge deal for all of the Harry Potter fans that have been waiting so impatiently for anything else that had Harry in it, of course. So it just had people lining up out the door, and they were just so excited. And then some of them didn't know that it's a play. Like literally the night of, we're handing them the book, and they opened it and went, "Wait, this is a play?" And I'm like, "Did you not? Like, I know you're."
I mean, it was largely advertised as the next Harry Potter book. So.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, that's true. I mean, it
think it's
does say even on the
Goodreads as
book,
Harry
though.
Potter #8.
Yeah.
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 Well, but even on the book, to have people come into the bookstore and they would pick it off the table, and I would be by the table, specifically because of this, because they pick it up and go, "Oh, the new Harry Potter book." I'd be like, "Just so you know, it's a play." Like I would stand there and I would literally tell people as they
It's a
came in,
play.
"It's a play. It's a play.
It's a
It's a play."
play.
Yeah, because they'd be like, "Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you for telling me
Yeah.
that." Or they put it back and they'd be like, "Oh, I don't know if my 10-year-old son will be that into it now."
Yeah.
So people were actually buying it and returning it to our store.
It like
'Cause they
sometimes
didn't
blows
know.
my mind how much people don't pay attention to things. Like I don't like probably like the week before this came out, I had people posting on Facebook. They're like, "Oh my gosh, there's another Harry Potter book coming out." I was like, "Oh my goodness."
How do you not
It
know?
hasn't been on your radar for the last 3 years.
Did they announce the play? Like,
See,
Yeah,
and
it's
the fact
crazy.
that it's a play was kind of cool to me. My family is really into theater, and so I've been to a lot of plays, and I think a lot about like staging and costume. I don't know. I think about all those things a lot, so it's kind of fun for me that way. And
I think it's really
envisioning
cool.
like, oh, if I was the set director, what would I do?
Yeah, I think it's really cool that they chose a different format to tell this story
Mhm.
than what they normally would. I think it works as a play. I don't think it would have worked as well as a novel.
No.
Now, okay, I have a question because there's something in this that really bothers me. And it is this 100% canon? Did J.K. Rowling tick that off and say, yes?
J.K.
This
Rowling
is
said
all-
it's canon.
Okay, I hate it.
In my
I'm so
opinion, if
mad.
you don't want it to be canon, it doesn't have to. See, I don't know. Like, I know people got mad at her for saying it was canon, and I was like, it's her book. She's allowed to say what she wants. Like,
She
if
absolutely
you don't
is.
want it to be canon. Like, she's not gonna force you. She's not gonna come to your house and be like, believe in this book. Like, you don't have to like
Come to your
swear
house,
on the
knock on
cursed
the door.
child to be a Harry Potter fan or something. Like, I
I
don't know.
just
It's like,
ring your doorbell to let you know that this is
Yeah.
canon.
yeah,
I just wanted to remind
if you
you.
don't want to see it as canon, then don't see it as canon. Like, nobody
Plus,
cares.
I don't
if
know
you don't.
why.
Like,
I don't know why. This shouldn't bother me as much as it does, but the lady that pushes the trolley.
Yes.
So many
I'm like, after I read that part, I was like, what the hell?
That is probably one of the weirdest parts of the book.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Yeah, I'm still mad about that. I refuse to believe that she's anything but a friendly trolley lady that sells you chocolate frogs.
That
No,
was
I
such a
reject
strange
that.
choice.
Yeah.
Strange choice.
No.
I
just,
like,
yeah.
They were like, this is a plot hole if they're able to get off of this train super easily. What can we do with what we already have?
And they're also like, how did the twins never escape off this train? Because we know they tried.
Well, I figure no one would want to get off the train necessarily because Hogwarts is awesome. Why don't you want to go to Hogwarts, right? But still, I was like, what is this? What is happening right now? I still just reject it. It's not true.
I mean, there are things from the original series that I just like. They
are weird.
Obviously canon that I'm just kind of. I wouldn't say reject. I just kind of pretend they don't happen.
I was thinking about that earlier today. I was thinking about the trolley lady and how no one likes the trolley lady scene, and talking about how weird it was. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, like I think we don't realize it because we were so enchanted by Harry Potter and because we were young when we read it. But there are weird things in the original series.
I don't know
quirky.
though.
Like the whole night bus thing is very strange, but we all just accept it.
Oh, I love it. But honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is a little out there.
It made me so mad.
It didn't make me mad, but I just was like, this was a choice.
That's the other thing. Like maybe there is a plot hole, but this is not the way to fill it. Like should have run that past some other people, and they would have been like, no.
They're like, here's this plot hole. How about we paint it purple and put spikes on it? That'll be fun.
Let's go a different direction with this. Yeah. And then there was one other thing that made it was I'm not going to remember anyone's names. I read this so long ago, but the Morgana something. Maybe I'm so off. The girl that ends up trying to help them, but then is not so helpful at the end.
Voldemort's daughter?
I'm just okay. I'm like I don't know why I'm dancing around spoilers.
We told everyone there's spoilers.
Everyone. Yeah.
Her name is Delphi.
Voldemort's daughter.
Yeah.
To me that.
Morgan.
Really close. I don't know why. Oh dear. No, I was not enchanted by that plot.
I will say that is pretty much my issue with it. Like I can accept everything else in it. Like I can accept the trolley lady as weird as it is. And and like I don't know, and like the whole I totally believe that Scorpius and Albus would be great together, but also I'm like they're like 14, they have time for that. He can have a crush on Rose right now if he wants. But it's the whole Voldemort having a daughter. Like I really liked Act 1, and Act 2 I was like, this is odd.
It just felt like they went with the first idea that popped into their head.
And that is
the fan fiction thing, right?
Exactly. I would say that is the idea that's been rehashed so many times in next generation fanfics. And it's like, oh, what if Voldemort had a daughter? And it's like, okay, I felt like it was very much the easy choice.
And then as well as sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I felt like it only got worse when Voldemort actually shows up because his dialogue sounded so.
Or it's me, Voldemort.
Like the worst kind of evil villain monologue.
I would be really interested to see that scene on stage because I feel like maybe it works theatrically, but reading it, you're like.
And in hindsight, I think maybe Voldemort was a little evil villain monologue-y anyway. It's been a while since I've read any of the original books.
That's true. It's funny because I felt like that with, I don't know if this was the actual dialogue, but with Snape at the end of the Half-Blood Prince movie, when he's looming over Harry and then he's like, it is true, I am the Half-Blood Prince. Does he actually say that in the book? That's really corny. It is I.
I feel like they easily, if they wanted to tie in the original series with the conflict, they could have easily just done that some of the Death Eaters are trying to carry out Voldemort's old plans or something, without having turning it into he has a daughter who's come
Yeah,
back.
but I felt like the majority of the plot wasn't super original. Like with the time travel thing, as soon as they started doing that, I was like, no, do not go the time travel
See,
route.
I love Prisoner of Azkaban because I like the time travel. So
Yeah.
I kind of
Oh,
like
that's
that they
so
went
funny.
into the time travel, and I
liked
like that. I like that they explain because, and I know J.K. Rowling talked about kind of part of the point of this was that people have always been like, why didn't anyone go back and kill Voldemort with the time turner?
Oh,
And so
okay.
they've explained that like most time turners can't go that far back, except for just like
Right.
one that they have. But, yeah.
Okay, I can see that filling a plot hole like that is cool.
Yeah.
I'm always gonna put that out there that I
Yeah.
just hate time travel, all time travel in
I do
general.
too, but
I love
it was a good way
peeve.
to tie in stuff from the
Yeah,
original
fair
series.
enough.
It was, yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah,
Good
it's like
point.
I like time travel, and I like the idea of like, what if one thing changes? How does it change everything else? It's not always executed well in this book, but I like the idea of it.
Yeah, see, that's what I don't know if I particularly thought time travel was like a great route to go, but I loved seeing all of the alternate futures.
Yeah,
where like
that's what I
Hermione
liked
is
about it.
leading an underground resistance, and
And
like
Snape is still alive.
yeah, Snape is
Yeah.
still alive. Like I was on board just because it felt like one-shot fan fictions, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
On kind of that note, I thought it was interesting. I don't know if there's been like other people kind of like me with like backlash against Ron and Hermione, but I felt like they were like constantly just trying to reaffirm that relationship in Cursed Child. And especially in the one where Hermione is like the resistance leader and like Scorpius
They
says
aren't
something
together.
like, oh yeah, you two are married in like the real timeline, and they're just like, eh. but then like later as they're both about to die, they're like, hey, about that.
The alternate timeline Hermione, I couldn't handle that when she's like super bitter and angry. Like,
I love it. Give me all the
Really?
bitter Hermione.
this is not Hermione.
angry.
What did you do to her?
So working.
So angry. I'm trying to think if there are other parts that made me really twitchy, and now I can't remember.
I think a big one for me was Harry as a character. I'm like searching Goodreads for examples of like I felt like he acted out of character more often than not.
I thought it was so realistic for what Harry would have been like as a dad. I know a lot of people hated it and were like, oh, Harry would have been a better dad. He wouldn't have been like this. I thought it made sense for him. But I know a lot of people agree with you, Kelly.
I feel like it was frustrating to read, but at the same time, like at the end, a lot of people didn't buy and then they lived happily ever after kind of epilogue at the end of the actual series, because where's his therapist? Where's his scars?
Yeah.
Why is he not damaged and flinching at everything? And like, where's the PTSD, right? So I felt like with this, it was a little like his home life wasn't perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what we kind of expect would have.
I'm definitely one of those people that I don't like the epilogue, and I don't like the line "all is well" at the end, because realistically, all would not be well for Harry. Yeah, and so that was one thing I actually liked about it, was seeing that Harry's life wasn't perfect, and that he didn't really have a lot of good father figures in his life. He had Mr. Dursley, who was awful. He had Dumbledore, who like manipulated him the whole time, but he also looked up to him, and then like Sirius, like kind of treated him like a younger brother instead of a kid, and like, Mr. Weasley, I guess.
Sirius, as much as I love Sirius as a character, he was not a great like father figure at all.
And so Harry never really had a good example.
Yeah, like reading the books, I'm like, I love Sirius, but I would reread and be like, oh, he like blows up at Harry for saying this. I'm like, you realize Harry's like a kid, and you're like losing your mind and yelling at him, and
just in general, I don't feel like Harry was ever like super socially aware to the point that I think there are a lot of times in the original series where like either Ron or Hermione like needed him as a friend, and he just kind of wasn't aware of that. So like I can see him being with his kids, and that
definitely growing up with the Dursleys, who never showed him any emotional awareness.
He should have been more messed up, actually.
It makes sense to me, it makes sense to me that he still, as an adult, is a little bit clueless about what someone needs from him.
We've got people in the comments bringing up the line in particular where Harry says he wishes Albus wasn't his son.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were really mad about that. So many people were mad about that, but I was like, stuff like that happens in families. Like, I don't know, because I think a lot of people took that as him actually meaning that he wished Albus. And I was like, I don't think he actually means it. It's just like, I don't know. People weren't mad at Albus for saying, I wish you weren't my dad, but they were mad at Harry for saying, I wish you weren't
Because
my
he's
dad.
the adult.
Because he's
I know, but Harry's always had a terrible temper. Like, I don't know, I just think it's like, it's a human thing. Like, yeah, he shouldn't have said it. And like, I'm upset with Harry as a character, but I'm not upset that was written for him. Because I think it makes sense.
I can't remember any of the examples of what bugs me.
Yeah. No, I definitely know you're not alone. A lot of people did not like Harry in this.
Yeah. I didn't care, or not I didn't care, but I wasn't bothered in particular by his like parenting style. I did occasionally get frustrated because I felt like Malfoy had grown as a character and Harry was still doing, which makes sense because he was the popular kid and he was whatever, but I felt like he should have grown at least a little and not been all like, Malfoy's so stupid, we can't work with him. It's not like he has a vested interest in anything that's going on right now. He won't understand.
Actually, it's funny because like I feel like the whole Potter family should have been like even more, because I don't know, if I were Harry, especially if I were Hermione and Ron, I would not be maybe necessarily even speaking to Draco, because like, do you remember when Hermione was being horribly tortured in their house and Draco was just, he's a coward. Like, he didn't try to do anything. He didn't protest, you know, the fact that she was being tortured. Like I said, he called her mudblood.
Yeah.
Like, he was kind of just a coward.
I mean, but could Draco have really done anything in that situation?
He tried to
He was a kid.
He never redeemed himself.
Draco was a kid, and he refused to identify any of them as actually Harry or Ron or Hermione.
Yeah.
And to me, that was the most he could have done. Yeah. Given the way he was raised and the abusive environment that he was in. I'm very passionate about it.
And the fact that he was surrounded by Death Eaters who would have just like killed him too. Like, they don't even care. He's his family.
Yeah, it's true. But like a lot of what he showed, I just thought of as weakness rather than like weakness or cowardice. Like, I don't know, because they never made it clear if he was like, yeah, I don't, you know, they don't want to do any of this. More like he's just like, because I just want to go home.
I think he could have had a little bit of a stronger redemptive arc, and I love redemptive arcs.
Yeah, I would have wanted that.
So, like, there was a little bit of it I would have liked more. I think we got a little bit more in Cursed Child, which was probably my favorite thing about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I definitely did in Deathly Hallows. That was the one of the few things I walked away from Deathly Hallows slightly disappointed in. I was like, oh, I wanted Draco to have a bigger redemptive arc.
Yeah, I expected that,
just, like,
to be honest.
Oh, he's not bad. Like, that's how you end Deathly Hallows. Like, I guess he's not too terrible of a person.
It's like, well, he didn't actually kill any of them. He didn't care if they died, or were tortured horribly, but he didn't actually kill. See, that's the thing. I'm with Kyra on this one. I expected a little bit more of redemption, and when I didn't get it, I'm like, I don't have as much patience for his character as everyone else does.
Especially because it felt like in book 6, they were like building up to a redemptive arc with how much he struggled in book 6.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I always think some of the most powerful characters in literature are going to be either good guys who turn bad or bad guys who turn good. Yeah. But when you kind of like just leave it in the middle, it's like,
like, I appreciate it for the realness of it, that is probably what someone like him would be like. But personally, for my own feelings, I wanted more.
But in all, let's be real, we're not reading Harry Potter for realness.
Yeah. But I mean, I want real characters. I mean,
right, but.
Yeah. Right. But no, I know. I'm totally with you. I wanted more, but I also understood why it was where it was. But it is one of the things I liked about this book or this play is that he gets to be more of a good person. So you see that he has grown up.
Yeah. Oh, Draco. So many feelings. So many missed opportunities.
Yeah, I would love to write a book with a character, with a villain that was similar to him, but that had a redemptive arc at the end. Yeah. Especially, I mean, well, it's fun to ship. I think that's why I liked Shatter Me so much, that series, because he was a kind of a little bit of a Draco-like character, but he did have that redemptive arc. And I'm like, I feel free to ship them without feeling like, oh, I'm getting behind like this potentially abusive relationship. Well, it's not, because he redeemed himself and he was, wasn't actually like he thought or she thought that he was.
Yeah.
So, oh, spoilers for Shatter Me. Sorry, guys.
We didn't warn you about those spoilers.
Sorry.
People in the comments also comparing Draco kind of to Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Also not happy with the ships in that, just saying.
Oh, so did any of you, like, we saw Delphi very early on in the book. Did any of you predict, like, quickly that she was going to be the bad guy or Voldemort's
I just thought there was
daughter?
something weird about her character.
I didn't trust her. Yeah.
Like, at first I thought it was just a poorly, like, made character, because I was like, why is this, like, 19-year-old hanging out with these kids? So I just thought it was weird, and then I was like, oh, there was a reason for it.
After the trolley lady, you don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, right?
So true.
Yeah.
Definitely thought there was something weird about her, but I didn't guess until, like, I mean, I think there was a point where I was like, wait a second, but I think it was pretty close to when we found it out.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't, like, pinpoint that that's what I was feeling, but it was exactly what you said, Emma, where I couldn't tell if it was just a bad character in, like, a plot hole, or if she really shouldn't be trusted.
It's funny because I actually ended up reading a lot of like reviews of this book after I read it, because there were so many things that I was kind of feeling weird or unhappy about, and there were so many of them that I'm like, I am confused about my own feelings. I can't pinpoint exactly what I'm frustrated with. But when I went and read reviews, I was like, yes, that's what I was feeling. I just wasn't sure how to articulate that even to myself. Right. So I do find reading like negative or semi-negative reviews can actually be helpful to like sort out the what am I feeling right now?
That totally helps me in the past with books that I have not liked. I'm like, let me read some Goodreads reviews so I can figure this out.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I did really like Ginny in this book. I felt like she was very consistent with book Ginny.
Okay, I'm glad we got book Ginny and not movie Ginny.
Yeah.
Except for that weird sweater she was wearing in all the pictures, but you know.
Yeah.
What do you think the difference is? I'm curious here between movie Ginny and book Ginny.
Movie Ginny was super passive.
Yeah.
Okay,
Never did anything. She never did anything except tie Harry's shoes.
Yeah. And ask him to zip up her dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, even her line in the room of requirement or whatever. Is that right?
I could stay up here if you like.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just wait for you, like one of these items up here, because I'm an object. You know.
I just feel like she's a very, even though she's really not in the books that much, when she is there, she's very like vibrant almost. Or, like in the movies, she isn't. Like I think they just didn't write it well, because I like Bonnie Wright. Like I've seen her at events and stuff, and she seems really cool. But I think they just wrote the character not well and directed it not well.
Yeah.
I think she could have played book Ginny if they'd written it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because in the book she was constantly wanting to join the battles and go.
And
with
she was
them
like,
and...
in the books, there's like scenes where she's like pulling pranks with the twins and stuff.
Oh,
like,
she grew up with, what, 7 older brothers?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's got a backbone.
And she was like notorious for her like bat bogey hex, and like she was so good.
Yeah.
Slughorn actually saw her like do spells and was like really impressed by her. You know, like yeah, that's true.
Well, she was good at Quidditch and.
And as she got older, she was like way more flirty, and she dated lots of guys. But in the movies, you just see like, there's Ginny, she's crying again over Dean.
Yeah, that's true.
Wasn't it in book 4? Ron was mad because she had a date to the Yule Ball and he didn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't even like.
Ron's mad at everyone that has a date for the Yule Ball.
It's true. I want to watch that. I want to go back and watch the movie again with the Yule Ball scene.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just getting a kick out of it.
Not to get too off topic, but I did learn today, because there was like I was at a celebration of Harry Potter at Universal, and they did a Q&A with some of the actors who were there. And Matthew Lewis, who plays Neville, said that they actually filmed like a scene where him and Ginny were like doing this like tango or whatever, but it got cut from the movie.
Ah, I didn't see Neville tango. Oh, that's sad. I wonder if there's footage of that anywhere that you can look up.
Well, I also learned in in the Yule Ball scene when Flitwick is like crowd surfing, there was like, because apparently hands were going in places they shouldn't have gone, and apparently like I don't know, something happened where someone touched him, and he had to wear these like dentures as Flitwick for like these really nice teeth, and the dentures like flew out of his mouth and back in like perfectly. I was like, I wish that was in the movie.
Oh dear.
Amazing.
Anyway, that's my tangent for the name.
Why did he have to wear dentures?
I guess because they wanted these like super perfect teeth for Flitwick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
I
think
guess
back.
he was
about
saying
his
he wore
teeth.
dentures for like all his characters basically. So like he wore them for Griphook too.
Oh, weird.
Griphook has the weird teeth, right? The
Yeah,
very
makes
funny
sense.
ones.
Well, I know Matthew Lewis wore them too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's part of why everyone was like, "Wow, Matthew Lewis suddenly is hot." Well, he were never that bad to begin with.
Well, they put him in like a fat suit for a couple of movies too.
Yeah.
So Cursed Child.
Yeah, I'm flipping through it trying to remind myself of things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like I've run out of things to rant about.
I know that a lot of people don't like Albus, and I can see he is kind of annoying, but also he's Harry's son, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Harry was annoying too. But I just found this scene that I forgot about, and I love it. It's like Harry comes to visit Albus in the Slytherin dormitory, and he's like, "This is a nice room," and Albus is like, "Green is a soothing color, isn't it? I mean, Gryffindor rooms are all well and good, but the trouble with red is it's said to send you a little mad. Not that I'm casting aspersions."
Interesting.
If Harry had had a living father, he would have been like that towards him too.
Yeah.
I mean, the Slytherin dormitory is like in the dungeon, isn't it?
It's like
Yeah.
below the lake or something.
Yeah, it's like, On the one hand, I was always kind of annoyed that like all the Slytherins were bad, but I guess if they stuck them in a dungeon under the lake, maybe I can understand why.
Welcome to Slytherin. Here's your dungeon. Yeah, maybe a little ticked off. Yeah, actually, that's something that did really bother me which is why I was happy for the fact that he was Slytherin in this. Is like I said, I wanted to see like a positive portrayal of a Slytherin, because in the last book it was like, oh, okay, all the Slytherins can leave or put them in the dungeon or whatever it was, and I was like, you know what, not one of them stays to fight, really. I think Horace Slughorn, I just slurred his name together, did in the movie, but I don't know about the books.
Yeah, I think in the books he was, I could be totally making this up. I think in the books, though, he fought too, but it was always in that very Horace Slughorny way.
I wish I didn't have to do this.
Yeah, the like, I don't know why I'm here or how this is happening, but here I am.
I'm doing this, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm doing this, but I'm not happy about it, and I hope you know.
He's one of my favorite characters too.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, for really hating the Ron and Hermione thing, one of my favorite parts was when Albus is like on the Polyjuice poster and pretending to be Ron, and then like has this line about like, oh, let's go on a holiday or have a baby. One of the two.
I forgot about that scene. That's my favorite scene in the whole play, is when Albus is pretending to be Ron.
Like Albus is a better Ron than Ron is.
That is such a great scene. I forgot about it. That scene was like, that was one of those scenes where I was like, this is Harry Potter. Like, this is the kind of scene that is in the real books. Like, ridiculous stuff like this happens. Like,
it's like
ridiculous. He's like, she's your aunt.
Yeah. So I got to kiss her.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That's great. There were definitely moments that made me laugh really hard. Like, for all the weirdness in it, there were definitely moments that I was like dying because it was really funny. And that was one of them.
Yeah, for all of my criticisms, I did read it in one day. I think it was half a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a script, hypothetically, you should be able to read it in the amount of time that it would take to see the play.
Yeah, which is a long time because it's 2 plays.
Yeah.
Yes, 2 parts.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes. I'm assuming there's just like a intermission in between and then you come
Mm-mm.
back.
No.
It's 2 plays.
Yeah, like 2
Yeah.
full
Like each
plays.
play has its own intermission, so like you can see them back to back,
Oh,
or you
wow.
can see them on like like some people saw them on different days. Like yeah, it's 2 separate plays.
Interesting.
Really long for a play. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet. I wonder if it's
Mhm.
just gonna stay in. Is it just gonna stay in London, or is
It's
it?
supposed to come. Yeah, it's coming
It's
to
coming
like
to
New
New
York.
York.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it'll
exciting.
probably travel around the U.S. To be honest, like it's too popular to only be in like 1 or 2 places.
Mhm. Yeah. Exciting.
And I feel like in this, I was like, because it was a play, I was more lenient than I would be in a book of like dialogue not being perfect and writing not being perfect. Because, and I think some people, like I've seen people like critiquing lines of dialogue and stuff, and I'm like, the actors like might not always say it that way, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
it can
Yeah.
be different. Like this was
Mhm.
really kind of like their first draft of it too, because this was like the rehearsal edition, and I know
Yeah.
they're supposed to like release the final edition too. But like, so really, this was kind of like their early edition they were using for like previews. So
Yeah. That was one of the things I remember them clarifying a lot, was like, this is the rehearsal edition. Things are
we're still
subject to
finalizing
change.
things. Yeah, we're still finalizing
Um,
things as we rehearse. Yeah.
I have a friend who saw it in London, and I should have invited her tonight because it would have been interesting to
That would have
hear
been really interesting,
Yeah.
yeah.
what she had to say.
Mhm.
I've mostly heard good things from people who saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Something I thought was interesting when this came out is that I feel like before the book came out, when it was just the play had just started rehearsals and people were starting to see it, is I feel like you definitely, with this, you had to have read it, like waited to read it or see it, because I feel like people who just, I don't know if any of you got spoiled. I didn't. Like I studiously avoided spoilers. I didn't want to know anything. And I feel like the people who went out and like read the spoilers and read the synopsis just were immediately against it, because I think I know, like, if I had just read a summary of this, I'd be like, this sounds stupid.
This is weird.
Yeah. And, like, it is weird, but when you read it, it's less weird.
Still weird, just less.
I feel like the
Yeah.
vast majority of people I saw who, like, got spoiled by it were like, it's stupid. But most people I saw who read it were like, it was weird, and there were things I didn't like, but it's all right. And people who saw it were like, oh, it was great. So I think it's interesting, like, the different levels for whether you've, like, seen it or read it or just read about it.
Mhm.
It was kind of like this weird, I felt this weird, I was excited because, you know, it's kind of a return to the world of Harry Potter, but at the same time, I don't like scripts, to be honest, because I can really immerse myself in a novel, but in a script, I feel this sense of detachment
Mhm.
from what's going on and from the characters. And it was a really weird, because I'm excited to be back in the world, but I feel like I'm a bit removed from this, and I wish that I wasn't. I wish this was a novel, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like plays are so much more about, like, interpretation and, like, the way the actors interpret it, the way the director interprets it, the way the audience, you know, like, it's not just a novel in a lot of ways. While there are things to interpret in a novel really, like, lays out the story for you more.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, this, it's really, like, it's really not complete until you actually, like, see it performed. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm not. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say along those same lines, like, I loved that having this come out in book form made for like it brought back the Harry Potter magic and the midnight parties, and like my husband, he didn't read the Harry Potter books until after we were married, and they were all the movies were out. And so he like got to go have a midnight Harry Potter party, even though he'd never had one before. And I just loved that.
Oh yeah, like I'm actually being on the other side of it and working the night of the Harry Potter release was just one of the coolest things. Just like seeing people, how excited they were. I actually ran the Harry Potter trivia kind of game while people were waiting for the countdown to start. And like, it was the most surreal, like kind of almost energizing thing, being surrounded by like 50 Harry Potter fans who were like so excited to be there. And I had like the Harry Potter trivia and I was asking them questions and they would be like shouting the answers back at me like before I could even finish my sentence to ask them the question. And it was like, it was really energizing because I'm like, you guys are incredible that you know this much information that's like not even in the books. And yeah, it was just really cool to see everyone lining up. And then going in the back and seeing that we just had crates and crates of this that we weren't allowed opening until like 12:01 midnight, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just, yeah. And then when you brought the crate out, people were just like losing their minds cheering, right? For, I don't know. It was like I said, this kind of incredible, surreal experience. So
Yeah.
I am glad it came out.
And when midnight came, we all sang happy birthday for Harry. And I was getting emotional the whole time. I was like, happy birthday, Harry.
It's funny because I'm not like, I hope she does more, not necessarily about Harry Potter. I'm happy with the way that everything is, and I can return to the books, but I don't necessarily want more about him specifically. But I would love to see another novel centering around someone else at Hogwarts. Not even in the same year, you know, like a new adventure in Hogwarts.
That's I know you guys had a chat about Fantastic Beasts, and I wasn't here for it, but I love Fantastic Beasts, and it kind of was that thing like I got to be back in the world without it being like
absolutely,
without it disrupting my canon.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a little more favorable so far to the ships in that one. You know, it's all going well. So.
Yeah, no, I really like I love the movies, and that was like a little taste of it again. But like, I want it in novel form again.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I bought the screenplay for Fantastic Beasts, and it is beautiful. The cover is
We have it at
amazing.
work.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
I would love it for my shelf, but I don't think I would actually read it.
Yeah, I thought the release of that one was kind of odd because I was like, I understood releasing Cursed Child because we can't all go to London to see it, but I was like, vast majority of us can go to the movie theater. Like, if you can afford a book, you can probably afford to go to the movie.
See, I liked it because Eddie mumbles a lot, and so I like the clarification.
That's true.
All the things he says.
That's true.
Or that line at the end, whatever, like what Graves says to him.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that Eddie's going to be narrating the audio book?
Ooh, cool. That'd be awesome.
I hope he mumbles less.
I don't care as long as
I think that was the character.
Yeah.
I mean, Eddie Redmayne and other things. I don't think it's.
He doesn't mumble quite that. I don't think he would be like an award-winning actor if he mumbled all the time.
Yeah, he's in the wrong line of work if he's like a.
I really love how he did the character though. Like, I thought it was perfect. Even
he was perfect.
He's like so adorkable.
Yes.
Like, oh, Newt, you're so precious.
And it's driving me crazy because not only do I love the coat this is so off topic, but I love the coat he wears the whole time. I want that coat.
Yes.
And I've seen it for sale. So I'm like, okay, I'm keeping my eye on you. I want to buy this. And then the coat that she wears actually at the very end where she's watching him board the ship. And it's driving me crazy because I cannot find that coat anywhere.
My heart.
I don't know if they
When is
sell
it going to
it.
come out?
More back to how we got on the topic of Fantastic Beasts. I think part of what made it work as a completely separate story is that it's set in it's set in America, and B, it's set in like a totally different time period, which I really like. I love historical fiction, so to have like Harry Potter plus like the 20s was awesome to me. And it's like Hogwarts has been around for I don't know how long. I'm not that up on my trivia, but like obviously there are a lot of time periods that you could set stories in.
Yeah, and like I love Fantastic Beasts, but I would love to get something else at Hogwarts because like I miss Hogwarts, and even this play we didn't get enough Hogwarts for me. I want more. I know a lot of people want the Marauders, but I don't really want the Marauders. Like I feel like their story was already like integrated enough. Like so many people want like a Marauders TV show or Marauders this, and I'm like, nah, I don't know. James was kind of a jerk. I don't really want to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Something about him.
Yeah, I didn't sympathize with him. I sympathized more with Snape than I did with James at that point in James' life. You know, I don't know if I would want to be seeing
They're
that
both
as with
jerks.
him as a main character. Yeah, they were. Neither of them were nice. I don't want necessarily main characters that way.
I want an anthology of short stories about Fred and George.
Yes.
Oh yes,
All of them my favorites.
that would be amazing. But
I'm
yeah,
trying to
I
think
mean,
if there was like one like fairly minor character from the original series that you could get like a book about, who would it be?
Hmm.
from the original series, I would want more from Luna.
Ooh, she'd be good.
There
I'm
was one
sticking with my
girl-
Fred and George anthology.
There was
Real.
one girl that Sean and I were listening to the audiobook, and it was like, oh, Alicia something or something, and then we don't find out what house she's sorted into. Because like Harry goes off thinking about something, and him and I both looked at each other like, what house does she get into? Like, wondered about
my
that ever
gosh.
since. I'm like, so I want a book from her point of view.
I would want
wanna know more.
I would want a book from Ginny's point of view, but only if we found out she had a secret relationship with Draco while Harry was gone in the
That's the only way
seventh
I wanted
book.
to know.
The only way I will accept that book.
I'd like a book. Which Weasley brother is it who like runs around Charlie with the dragons?
Yes, that would
Yes.
be cool. Charlie would be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What,
that.
what I want, speaking of like an anthology of the twins, what I want is for one of the Weasley kids to have a set of twins that are just like Fred and George, and I want their book. Because I don't so much want Fred and George because it's like too tied in with Harry, and also Fred dies. Spoiler alert. But like a new generation of Weasley twins would be awesome. That everyone's like, oh, you're just like your uncles. And they're like,
Girl
Yeah,
Weasley
that's so
twins.
good.
I want girl Weaslly twins.
Ooh, yeah, girl Weasley twins.
yes.
That would be amazing.
Have you guys seen the comic strip that's My Life as a Background Slytherin?
Yes.
What? No.
I love that.
Funny.
It's
I'm looking
amazing.
that up now.
It's so great.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's just like the background Slytherin making snarky comments about all the things Harry's doing and Draco's doing. So,
This is
There was one
amazing.
recently where there was some like conversation with Snape that was really funny. I can't remember what it was.
This is so good. Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't know this existed. What? Like an actual ferret? Yes, a ferret. Oh my god. Only for a bit though.
oh man.
Oh, I'm going to be doing this for the next 6 hours. Thank you guys.
Happy to help.
Uh,
Oh. Harry Potter is the best because you can go off topic, but there's so much that feels like it's still kind of on topic.
Oh, I remember which one it was I saw recently that was it's just Snape by himself singing "Have Yourself a Snapey Little Christmas." He's like, from now on, Mr. Potter will be far away.
uh,
He's like decorating the tree with different colored stars.
Or the ones that are like the names of the books if they had been written from the other
Yes.
other characters.
And like all of the Draco ones are like Draco Malfoy, and my father will hear about this.
is there a link for that one?
I just remember I got really mad though one time when I saw one of those that was Ginny, and like all of them were like, you know, big things that happened to Ginny, like being possessed by Voldemort and stuff. And then like the last one was like Ginny Weasley and like I married Harry Potter or something like that. I was like, she does so much more this episode than marry Harry. She's
There's not
leading
even any
a rebellion in the school while Harry's gallivanting in the woods for a year, pretending to find Horcruxes.
And having a secret affair with Draco Malfoy.
Okay, I tried to look up the book title, Draco Malfoy and My Father Will Hear About This, and there's a Reddit thread that is just literally titled, "How many times did Draco's father hear about it?" Now I have to click on this because
That
this
was
is what I've been
actually another
reduced to.
thing. That was another thing they talked about at the Q&A thing today. Is someone asked them like what their favorite line of their character was, and when they got to Tom Felton, he was like, "Of course, everyone talks about My Father Will Hear About This," and he said like people say it to him all the time, but he couldn't remember like where in the movies he said it. He was like, "Where did that come from?" So he said like this weekend like. There was somewhere that they were showing clips from the movie, or they were showing part of the movie, and it was the fourth one, and it's after he gets turned into a ferret. And when he turns back human, he's like, "My father will hear about this," and he's like, "That's where it was. That's where it was."
Can't imagine having people quote that at me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It's like Robbie Coltrane. Every time someone meets him, they always want him to say, "You're a wizard, Harry." He's like said that in interviews before. He's like, everyone just wants me to say that line to them.
That's funny. Or with their name inserted, so they can eat themselves a little.
That would be awesome.
Just say it. Or give me my Hogwarts letter.
Yeah.
There are strong opinions in the comments.
Yeah, this book definitely proves that people feel strongly about Harry Potter.
I think we knew that, though.
And I think that while definitely things could have been done better, I also think that this was a really like daunting task to take on writing this.
God, yeah.
Because everyone has such expectations, and so many Harry Potter fans have read or written fan fiction about like post Harry Potter and the next generation. So everyone has like their headcanons of what really does happen. And so it's not going to line up with everybody's. So
yeah, I did feel though that it should have been
it could have been better. Definitely.
Felt better than fan fiction.
Yes, oh definitely. But I also think it would have been difficult no matter what to write it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's a task I would take on if someone came up to me and was like, "Erin, would you like to write a Harry Potter screenplay?" I'd be like, I'm paralyzed by fear, but
Yeah. There'd be like a line of fire like leading to the door because I ran away so fast.
Yeah.
And even like J.K. Rowling consulted on it, but I feel like it's obvious that it didn't have her hands on it every step of the way. Like Fantastic Beasts felt very much like J.K. Rowling touched this the entire process.
Absolutely.
I feel like
This definitely feels like the major plot points were approved by her, and the major plot points are like things she had in mind, but it's very obviously also not her writing.
Yeah.
Like there are lines the characters have where you're like, oh, that's something she would have written. You know, like there are lines where
like
they get
the holiday or a baby.
Yeah. Which is actually possibly something Ron would have said too.
Yeah.
I still want to tweet her though and say like, how could you possibly let them do this to the trolley lady? How could you? It's my one beef.
I just pictured in my head. So for those of you who don't know, at Harry Potter World, you can ride the Hogwarts Express. And it's got little screens on the inside, and there's like shadows that go by the window. And so it's got like Harry, Ron, and Hermione walk by your window, and they're talking, and the trolley lady goes by at one point. And so I just pictured like
I would never be able to ride the Hogwarts Express after that.
Be like terrified of the trolley lady for the rest of my life.
Okay, you know, in that scene on the train, for anyone who's been on it or hasn't been on it, she stops and she asks the trio, she's like, anything from the trolley, dears? And I think it's Harry like knocks some chocolate frogs off and they escape. So I just imagine her just like
You must be punished.
Instead she's like, don't worry about it, dears, I'll catch them. And you're like freaking out on them.
It does just seem in a world where like there's all sorts of crazy types of magic. They could have come up with some other obstacle to getting off the train.
Some magical barrier seems much more likely.
Gonna stab your eyeballs out with her crusty, gross nails. Like, what happened there?
There even could have been like a magical creature that lives on top of the train and stops you. Why was it the trolley?
Why was it the trolley?
Why did you sully the trolley lady's name?
This play, I think, proved maybe none of us realized how much we loved the trolley lady until we read it.
Apparently,
We all feel very
apparently
betrayed.
I'm really passionate about this subject.
And it proved that
she was
there's
never my
like
favorite
a
minor
limit
characters.
to what we are willing to believe in the Harry Potter
Yeah.
world.
Suspension of disbelief has it.
Really?
Frogs that are made of chocolate and hop, cool. Pictures that move, cool. Trolley wizard / monster, no.
No, I draw the line there. I have to draw the line somewhere. Ugh. I don't know. It just felt like such a like you shattered my canon. Like that would have felt like this whole time she was a weird animal monster thing.
I feel like my brain has coped with it by like, oh, this is just a different trolley witch. They had a problem.
Yeah,
A bunch of
okay.
students tried to get off the train, and this is a new trolley witch.
Okay, I guess. What was she though then? What was she? What creature was she? There's no explanation, damn it.
I think
actually
maybe
like-
the other lesson from this chat then is that like whatever your headcanon is, just stay with that, you know? Like, headcanon
Yes.
trumps all.
Mm-hmm.
Your headcanon, all your ships can come true, and the trolley lady
Yes,
stays
yeah.
nice.
And Voldemort never had a child.
And Voldemort never had a child.
So somebody in the comments has said that the trolley lady turns into a werewolf. Yes, no?
I don't
I
think so.
see.
Because okay, where's the
Wolverine in the comments? She turns into Wolverine, not a werewolf.
Surprise! It's an X-Men crossover. You're welcome. Okay, where's
That
the
would be
scene
super
now?
weird, but I'd definitely read it. X-Men Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Also,
I mean, it
since
kind of
just-
works at both schools, right?
Yeah.
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 Since I just mentioned, I just mentioned the whole Voldemort having a daughter and how I didn't like that. It reminded me that like what I wish it had done if they were going to do the whole Delphi thing is I wish it had like turned out that she wasn't really his daughter. Like even though this book pretty much confirms that she is, in my mind I've just chosen to believe that she isn't actually, and just like the Death Eaters that raised her believing that she was because they wanted her to like carry out Voldemort's mission.
Ooh.
You know, like that's I like that a lot better.
Wow.
They're like, yes, you're Voldemort's child, but she never was. You know.
Oh.
That's definitely
I'm
more
having a book
comfortable.
idea. I need
Yeah.
to write this down.
Yeah.
And was she supposed to be Bellatrix's daughter? Was that
Yeah,
it?
it's Bellatrix and Voldemort. Mhm.
Yeah, I just don't ship them.
Exactly. I'm like, if we're gonna go with she actually is his child and Bellatrix's child, then I choose to believe that like I don't think it was anything romantic. Like I think it was like a reward or something, you know, because obviously Bellatrix wanted that. Like when you read the book, she's obsessed with him. You know.
Well,
It's like a Joker
oh, of
Harley
course.
Quinn sort of relationship.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But honestly,
There's even
like
a line.
what?
Like I was going back because of this book. I went through book 7 to find all the places where Draco Malfoy could have been secretly doing heroic things in the background. And one of the things I noticed was like there is a part where Bellatrix is talking to Voldemort, and she says, "My lord," Bellatrix said, and she said it as if to a lover. And I was like, oh, like she had this planned for a long time.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't know though, because I strongly don't think, and this is going to be a little more than PG rated, but I don't think his would have worked. He just doesn't look like.
Exactly. That's my thing. Is I'm like, is he capable of that?
Like that dude is messed up. Do not tell me that he could have had a
Not just
relationship.
that he could, not just that he could do the act, but like, is there anything living inside of him? That's what got me. Is
He
I'm
only
like,
has like 1/7 of a soul in that body.
yeah, how did you impregnate someone?
I don't think that's going to work out for
Well-
him. I don't know. I just
Well, and also Bellatrix is a good enough villain in her own right that like it could have just been her daughter and that would have been like a legit enough villain for me.
Yeah.
yeah,
like, she
totally.
legit had a husband that like I'd completely forgotten about because I
Yeah.
started rereading it. Like,
Rudolphus,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Like
he's never
she
been
literally
happy.
just,
they could have just had a kid.
yeah. And people could have told her that she was Voldemort's child, or that she was, destined to bring back.
Well, yeah,
you know,
because she
anything
would have
like
been
that.
just as radical a follower because Bellatrix would have,
Yeah.
that was her legacy.
Yeah. Mhm. So yeah, I just choose to believe that she wasn't actually his child. Everyone just told her she was.
Headcanon.
It's like the only thing that contradicts that in this book is like the alternate. There's like that alternate reality or whatever where Voldemort lived, I think, or something, and she's basically like the second in command or whatever. But like maybe even as Bellatrix's child, they would have just raised her that way.
And parcel tongue, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, she speaks Parcel
Yes, there's
tongue.
that.
Oh, well.
I just don't like that plot twist.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
So the Trolley Witch, it just says that her hands transfigure into very sharp spikes. She's not a werewolf.
Wait. So her hands, like not her fingers, her hands are spikes? So it's
Like Edward Scissored Hands, or
It's probably all her fingers. This is
Oh.
the play, Aaron. It doesn't have to describe it perfectly.
Step. I don't know. I'm just.
I don't think there's
Picturing.
any version of it necessarily that's less creepy than another. So whatever.
Yeah.
I don't really get it.
I'm just picturing her with hands that are like kind of
Just
like
one spike per hand.
like flippers, but with spikes. Oh, that's not a good image.
Chuckle, chuckle, chuckle.
Okay.
What did you say?
She said chuckle, chuckle, chuckle.
Chocolatey.
Ah,
Oh, also, talking about this book reminded me that now we have the Harry Potter series, which is about a Gryffindor, and we have this, which is about a Slytherin, and then we have Fantastic Beasts, which is about a Hufflepuff. So where's the Ravenclaw representation?
That's true,
We need
actually.
a book or movie or play. I'll
That
take
is
any of them.
trying to think of some fourth medium they could do it in just to really round things out.
Yeah.
Web series.
So, yes, it's
Oh,
a TV show about a Ravenclaw.
And they've got all the Ilvermorny houses too. Like, did they ever in Fantastic Beasts say which?
They didn't,
Houses.
but she said it on Twitter recently. I remember that Tina's I would have to remember the houses better. But a Thunderbird, that's Tina, and Queenie is something. I don't remember what Queenie is.
Puckwudgie.
Oh, she
What's
Puckwudgie.
I don't actually know. I
Oh,
just
you don't
know
actually
there's an inordinate amount of Puckwudgies. Like it seems like an uneven amount.
I figured you just wanted to say Puckwudgies.
Sounds legit.
Yeah.
I'd find out
Yeah.
on the Harry Potter wiki if it'll load.
I think that a lot of people would like a Ravenclaw something, book or movie, because I mean, we're all book readers, right?
Yeah.
I feel like almost every writer that takes the which house are you in thing, like a lot of us get Ravenclaw. Like I got Slytherin and Ravenclaw, so I'm like a weird mix. But I mean,
Megan was right. Queenie is a Puckwudgie.
Yeah.
apparently
So also,
everyone
Erin,
is.
interestingly enough, when I was at GeekyCon last summer, someone asked like a bunch of the authors on one of the panels their houses, and a lot of them were Slytherins. And Daniel Jose Older was talking about how his theory is that a lot of authors are Slytherins because like we like to torture readers and like manipulate people's emotions. Well, and like literally, he was like part of the point of being a writer is manipulating people's emotions. So,
That's true.
so he does a lot of writing
Interesting.
for Slytherins.
Actually, I do like I follow a lot of writers on Twitter, and a lot of them are Slytherin. Actually,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a lot. Slytherin and Ravenclaw seem to be the
very
two
common.
Or Slitherclaw, as I like to say.
Get out of here, Megan.
I've taken it a couple
Welcome
times.
here, Gryffindor.
I am predominantly Gryffindor, but I have taken it and gotten Slytherin before. I've taken it more than twice.
Yeah, everyone has a little Slytherin in them.
I'm predominantly Ravenclaw with some Slytherin.
I feel like I've connected with everything but Gryffindor. I'm just not that person.
Yeah. Nope.
I've connected with everything but Hufflepuffs. I guess I'm not that nice.
Yeah.
See, Hufflepuff, I never really, like, my connection with Hufflepuff was never the, oh, nice. It was more the, oh, they take everyone else. I'm none of these things. I guess I'm a Hufflepuff.
Yeah. And everyone else is in Hufflepuff.
I have a little bit of an identity crisis like every time this gets brought up because like I don't know. I've been sorted into like Slytherin and Gryffindor pretty evenly.
Yeah.
And like people who meet me always think I'm a Ravenclaw. It's very confusing for me.
I think maybe the lesson here is the divergent lesson that we are all not just one thing. So
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Pretty much.
Yeah, my husband, he actually took the test again recently because he wanted to take a Patronus one, but the last time he was on Pottermore was back when they were on their old server or whatever, and they deleted all the old accounts, and he had to make new ones and retake everything. And he had to retake the test, and he got Hufflepuff the second time, and he spent the whole day like so confused because he's such a Gryffindor that he was appalled at the thought of being in anything but Gryffindor. Like, your reaction proves that you're a Gryffindor. You don't have to like question it anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just know I would have been that person because, like, if you know what you're gonna be, it's like Malfoy. They barely need to put it on his head, and it's like Slytherin. I would have been sitting there for like 5 minutes.
You would have been a hat.
You'd be a hat stall. Yeah. It's got a hat stall when you take a long time.
There's a word for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling talked about it once. It's called a hat stall. Like, there's apparently some people it takes a long time for the Sorting Hat to decide because like they're so like evenly between a couple different houses.
Interesting.
Yeah. And there's like an amount of time cut off where it's like a hat stall.
Yeah. I think Harry was not long enough to be a hat stall.
I think she said Neville was very close to a hat
Yeah.
stall,
Interesting.
but he wasn't quite one.
And McGonagall was one, I think.
Yeah. I've read the headcanon that was Neville was almost a hat stall because he was arguing with the hat and begging it to put him somewhere else.
Funny. I was going to say something, now I forget. Oh.
So cursed child.
Yeah, right.
I think I've said everything I have to say about
Yeah,
this.
I think I'm out. I'm out of
Yeah.
interesting things to say about this book.
Final thoughts.
It was.
I don't think I'll.
It
Yeah,
was a
I don't think I'll
thing.
be rereading it. It is
It was not
itself
part of my
pretty.
canon.
Yeah.
Like if it ever comes somewhere near me or I'm in a city that's showing it, I'll see it because I want to see it definitely. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
it was definitely one of those things I just wanted to read to see like what happened in it.
Yeah, I didn't want to get spoiled. I wanted to experience it myself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm glad that I like waited to read it and wasn't spoiled.
Yeah. So, if you love Harry Potter and are cool with fan fiction, go for
It's
it.
scary. Totally.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching today, everyone, and for nerding out about Harry Potter in general, talking about the Cursed Child, things we liked, things we didn't care for as much. I'm definitely hoping to see it someday and see if that changes how I feel about the book itself. What is our topic for next week? Does anyone know off the top of
have
their head?
one.
It's
but-
social media.
I
but
think you're right.
could be lying.
Maybe
I think you are right. Hang on, I'll pull it up. I have it saved.
social media is either next week or the week after that.
Yeah. Pulling it up. Pulling it up. Next week is February 5th. We are talking about social media for writers. How to manage your social media, all the things you might want to do. If you are a writer looking to build a platform, we will answer all your questions. Hopefully we'll see you there. We would love to see you every day of the week. We have videos, so be sure to hit that subscribe button, plug in away. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just want you to love us, okay?
Please.
Love us. All right. We're gonna go now. All right. We will see you every day this week in the comments and particularly next week to talk about social media for writers. Thanks for being here. Bye.
Bye.